I was more than a tulip or a daisy, destined to grow no matter how many times they buried me. I was destined to grow no matter how many times they poisoned my soil and poured concrete over me. If you haven't checked out my fundraiser that I put out on Everything College, I highly encourage you, after you watch this video, to go check it out because it's inspirational and it's really amazing. Head over right now to my YouTube and subscribe. Check out this amazing interview to learn more about people's experience at the University of Michigan. Don't want to miss out. Welcome back to Everything College. I'm your host, Christina Parker, supporting your college navigation while minimizing debt. And welcome back to our little mini series that we have. And we have a special guest as always, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, so I'm Alejandra. I'm a MSW student at the University of Michigan School of Social Work. I'm originally from Chicago. I am living in Ann Arbor, and I started the program in the fall of 2020. So I started this program during a pandemic, and I'm in the community change pathway as a macro social work student.
Thank you, thank you. And I know some of y'all might, if y'all have seen the series before or any of the other episodes, you might be like, Christina, why do you only have MSW students, or for the most part? And I swear it's not on purpose. Those are just some of the colleagues and people that I know that I've been able to connect with. So if you're someone interested in being interviewed on my YouTube channel, please comment below, or you can reach out to me. My email is also in the description. But now we're going to jump into the questions. So we're going to be kind of talking a little bit about her experience at U of M, the pandemic, and other things. So I hope students out there that are planning to go to U of M or just looking for students' perspective, watch the full video. So my first question to you is, what made you pick the University of Michigan?
So what informed my decision in choosing to study here? I applied to 3 different social work programs. U of M was one of them. I also applied to the University of Chicago. And then I also applied to Columbia University in New York. So I was accepted to the University of Chicago and the University of Michigan, and I was waitlisted for Columbia. I was more drawn to U of M and to the U of Chicago. I wasn't really, I was kind of in between how I felt about Columbia. I wasn't that drawn to them. And I had gone to a graduate fair in the fall of 2019. So I got to actually speak to representatives from U of M and from U of C and Columbia in social work program. And that really informed my decision to apply to those 3 programs. And I didn't apply to the to UIC, which is another school of social work in Chicago that's really well known. So after I was accepted into the University of Chicago and U of M, I started asking questions about funding and just about like the pathway that I would be in. So at University of Chicago, they selected me for the global social work pathway, and they actually did increase my funding, but it's such an expensive school. It's also, I really love Hyde Park where it's located, and I've lived in Chicago. I grew up in, you know, I was born and raised there, so I've lived there most of my life, and I just really wanted to have a different experience, and also to have the opportunity to connect with Detroit, because at U of M, they told me that I would be in the CBI Scholars, which is community-based initiative in Detroit. So I really just wanted to have that experience. And I know that U of M also has a reputation for social work, and it's the top social work school in the country. So then ultimately that informed my decision.
Nice, nice. Thank you for that. How has your first year of grad school been during a global pandemic?
it's been a wild ride for sure. Yeah, I think that it was super helpful for me. I've also just been transitioning in my personal life, going through like personal shifts. So it was really helpful for me to start off the fall term remotely and to be in Chicago when cases were really going back up, and just to have the ability to continue to be at home in Chicago and start the semester from there was super helpful for me, because I had also just stopped working and I wasn't sure about my income and how I would be able to sustain myself. But um, there were so many different ways that I received help. Like I received help through the COVID emergency funding, and just my scholarship was super helpful, and also just saving money by not having to move in the fall really helped me to start the program. So it's been a roller coaster for sure.
When you talk about funding from the pandemic, are you referring to the higher education emergency relief funding?
I'm talking about, yeah, so I know in the fall prior to starting the program, they had sent out emails to students about like an emergency COVID funding. And I think, I don't remember because it's been such a long time ago, but I think that you could either like show proof, like some type of documentation. So they were able to give me some funding through that. And that really helped me to continue paying for housing, and to be able to continue saving money so that I could move here in January.
Thank you
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning that. Any viewers that are out there that are like, what is the higher education emergency relief funding? Please go check out my channel. Currently, I have the second round, and I'm also going to be putting up, if they're not already up there, the third round of her funding and all of the information that you students need. So my question to you is, what are the pros and cons to going to school in a pandemic?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that that's like really up to an individual like opinion, but for me, the pros of going to school in a pandemic, I think, yeah, I think it's what I just mentioned about like being able to have money saved up to move. So that's one of the biggest things that's been helpful, is when you're doing school remotely. You don't have to be there in person, so you don't have to move your entire life to a new city, a new town. And so that is able to save money for a lot of students that are working class or poor working class, or come from low income households. So I think that that's been a pro. It's also about like the safety of my health during the pandemic. Not having to be in person has been helpful to keeping myself healthy, even though I did have a mild case of COVID in the fall, but that was related to my family and just the risk of them getting sick. And then I was sick because I was around them. So yeah, I think that those have been some of the pros. And then some of the cons have been going to school in a pandemic in graduate school. I never imagined that I would be going to graduate school in a pandemic, but you know, I never imagined a lot of things would happen to me in a pandemic. So I think the con has been not so much for me, because I'm still able to find a way to connect virtually, but I didn't enter the program with expectations that I would have all of these connections happen immediately virtually, because we are living in a virtual landscape, and that's not really an organic way to connect to people. You're not in person, you don't really know them, and it's just like a virtual persona that you're talking to. So what I've heard from a lot of my cohort is that the lack of being in person is really making some people feel isolated and lonely. So they're really just craving that connection to other graduate students.
Yeah, no, that's definitely real. Why do you feel like maybe your experience has been different and you've been able to foster more relationships like virtually?
Um, I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. I got really lucky in that I met someone in my fall semester. I met someone from Chicago who I was also able to, like, she was living in Chicago at the same time as I. And so we were able to connect through our background in community organizing. So, and just being from Chicago and being in the same program. So that was just kind of like, I guess that was just kind of like a coincidence, I guess. And I don't know. I think that I just try to be intentional in making connections virtual, even though we're virtual. I think I still maintain that same intentional approach to connecting to people, just being intentional about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Really quickly, are you in the advanced program? Are you doing 2 years, 16 months? Like what track are you on?
So I'm in the 16-month track program, and I'll be graduating in December, in the fall 2021.
Wow, literally right around the corner.
I know. It's giving me anxiety.
Yeah. How do you feel about graduating in a couple, well, not a couple of months, but another semester in the pandemic? Like, do you have any worry or fear around that or excitement? What's your feelings?
I think I'm feeling both, and not so much worry, maybe, but more like excitement, and excitement combined with anxiety. Only anxiety about what is my income going to look like. That's my biggest anxiety, is to be able to sustain myself financially. So that's what's giving me anxiety. But I think I trust enough in myself to know that the right opportunity is going to present itself, and just trying to maintain that faith in myself.
No, definitely. You got it. You're gonna make it happen no matter what. So how do you feel about U of M's response to the pandemic? Did you feel like it was equitable or student friendly? And if so, or if not, can you please explain your answer?
Um, I don't really know. I think that they present the response as student friendly. I wouldn't agree that it's equitable. I think that a lot of students that are coming from low income households or are working class and are still working through graduate school, it seems like some of the communication isn't transparent. And it's also, we talk so much about this program being about pods and privilege, oppression, diversity, and social justice. But I think that sometimes that comes off as very shallow and performative. And I also know that I'm in an institution, so institutions can't really be that critical or that socially just. There's like a limitation to so much that they can do because they are operating out of an institution. So I would say that yes, there has been some help through funding for students, but even like I'm even remembering like when they rolled out like the vaccination, and they were just giving like vaccines in the beginning for clinical students because they would be in person. I don't think that that's equitable, because macro students are also doing work in communities, and we are just as important and valuable as clinical social workers. And so that was a little bit messy and not very clear, and just the rollout was not as transparent as it could have been.
Sure. So how was your experience in field?
Oh my God. So yeah, I didn't stay in the first field placement that I started at. I would say that that was a very to be perfectly honest, it was an awful experience because the person who was supervising me was not behaving professionally. There were a lot of microaggressions. So yeah, that was not the best experience for me. And I'm happy that I was able to transfer into a new internship, because my current internship is amazing and I'm really happy there. And it's through the community action social change undergraduate minor at the School of Social Work. And I think that everyone that I work with is really amazing, and they really care about the work that they're doing with students. And it really feels like a community that I'm a part of. And that's that's why I'm in community change and I'm a macro social work student, because I love being in community and creating community with others.
Nice. Thank you for that. Really quickly, what advice do you have for students who may be in a field placement or internship that they don't like, that may have those same elements? Like, would you suggest or give them advice on how to get out of that situation or how to handle that situation?
I would tell students to try to remain as objective as possible, and to really have conversations very early on with their field internship about what their expectations are, what their learning goals are, and how this fits with the organization or the agency's learning goals for their interns that they accept. Because it's not one way, it's two ways. And we're not, we're interns, and we should be in agencies and organizations that want to have interns and want to help social work students become social workers and to gain new skills. So really just have those conversations very early on, and be transparent with the organization about what your learning goals are, and how that fits into your pathway, and how that fits into the classes that you're taking and your career goals after you complete the program and finish the internship.
Thank you for that advice. So from 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, 10 being perfect, what would you rate your experience at U of M?
I think that right now I'd be like at an 8 or an 8.5. It's not perfect, but there's definitely room for improvement. But I'm not unsatisfied. I'm not miserable. I really like I'm really happy that I made the decision to come here, because I definitely don't regret choosing U of M School of Social Work.
Thanks. What is one thing that you enjoyed at U of M?
One thing that I enjoy,
whether that's a class, a professor, or experience, or something of that sort.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, now that I'm in person, it's kind of different, but I guess what I really enjoyed is my internship. I'm super happy there, and I'm really enjoying the work that they're giving me. They're very supportive. They want to see me do my best, and they're just super happy to have me, and they've made that very clear in all the work that we've been doing together.
Nice. Thank you for that. So my last question to you is, what is your advice to incoming MSW students or students in general?
What is my advice? So I would say not to have any expectations. I know it's easier said than done, but that's just my approach to a lot of things, because you don't want to set yourself up for too many high expectations and then be disappointed. So just try to not have expectations. Do your own research on the school. Try to maybe connect to someone who's already completed the program, but also don't listen to what they have to say, but don't make it don't transfer that over to it's going to be your experience, because each experience is different. And I think just try to remain critical of social work, and do your own research and do your own independent research and your own reading on social work, and try to find ways that whatever you're passionate about, if you're passionate about art or you want to do social media, try to find ways to include that in your social work practice, because it's definitely possible.
Thank you for that. I super appreciate you volunteering your time, your energy, and your brilliance and guidance to other students that are out there. As always, for all the viewers that are out there, I please hope that you subscribe to the channel, that you like, comment. Any helpful guides or links or anything will be in the description below. And yeah, we hope to see you on our next episode. And yeah, as always, stay studious.
What's up, guys? If you guys want to see my interview on Everything College about how I graduated during the pandemic, trust me, it was a great interview. I need you guys to check it out. I need you guys to give it love. But if you guys want to see how I did it through the pandemic, I need you to check Everything College. All we do is grind.